37.6 million ounces vanished in 47 days. Gone from COMEX vaults. The largest drain since 1980. You know what else happened in 1980? Silver hit $49. Then the entire futures market nearly collapsed. February 14th, 2025. 4 of South Korea's biggest banks suddenly halted all silver sales. Not paused, not reduced, completely stopped. No explanation, no timeline, just gone. At the same time, China quietly made it impossible for regular citizens to buy physical gold or silver through official channels. Russia has already been locked out of London's metal markets. And right now, something that almost never happens is flashing red on trading screens worldwide. The cash price of silver is higher than the futures price. That's backwardation. In plain language, people are paying extra to take metal home today rather than trust a promise for delivery tomorrow. That only happens when fear shows up. This isn't just about the price climbing. We are already inside stage 3 of a 4-stage sequence that has repeated itself every single time a real asset backs money, then gets drowned in paper promises. When stage 4 arrives, the quoted price becomes meaningless because no amount of money will buy what simply isn't there. This exact sequence has unfolded at least 3 times in modern history. Each time, the handful of people who recognized it early built wealth that lasted generations. Each time, almost everyone else was left asking how it all collapsed so fast. Here's the cycle. It's painfully simple. Stage 1. Foundation. A scarce commodity becomes accepted as money. Governments tie their currency to it. Prices stay flat for decades. Trust is total. Silver filled every U.S. dime, quarter, and half dollar until 1964. You could walk into any bank, hand over a paper dollar, and walk out with silver. Predictable, solid, unquestioned. Stage 2. Dilution. Someone figures out they can issue paper claims far beyond the physical metal in the vault. 1 real ounce suddenly supports 10 contracts, then 50, then 100. Paper is cheap to create and highly profitable. Physical metal is costly to mine and store. So the market gets flooded with IOUs. The price falls or stays artificially low, because on paper it looks like supply is endless, when in reality it's not. Stage 3. The awakening. Demand keeps rising. More and more holders say, "I'll take delivery, thank you." Vaults start emptying faster than anyone expected. At some point, the crowd realizes there aren't enough real ounces to honor all the paper. Panic spreads. Everyone races to swap promises for actual metal. But the metal is already gone. Stage 4. The rupture. The paper market breaks. Trading gets halted. Delivery failures pile up. Cash settlement is forced on people who wanted metal. The cash price of the contract can be manipulated or even frozen, but the price of real deliverable metal disappears into the stratosphere. Those holding physical in their own possession win. Everyone holding paper, certificates, or leveraged bets learns the difference between owning something and owning a promise. That's why when stage 4 finally lands, the screen price no longer matters. There is only physical, and there isn't enough of it at any price. And in the next chapters, I'm going to show you, using the exchange's own numbers, that we are already well into stage 3 and moving faster than most people realize. Before I lay out the exchange's own numbers proving we're already deep in stage 3, you need to understand why silver isn't like any other commodity on the planet. Gold is purely monetary. It sits in vaults, it preserves wealth, it's beautiful. But industrially, it does almost nothing. Silver is different. Silver is money and the single most indispensable industrial metal in the modern world. Your smartphone? Silver. Every solar panel on the planet? Massive amounts of silver. Electric vehicle wiring and charging ports? Double the silver of a normal car. Medical devices, antibiotics, imaging machines? Silver. 5G antennas, satellites, missiles, AI data center cooling systems, all loaded with silver. Virtually every megatrend shaping the 21st century runs on silver that can never be recycled 100% and is consumed forever once it's used. And we are running out, fast. 2024 posted a 149.9 million ounce deficit. The fourth year in a row, the world used far more silver than it dug out of the ground. Mines are producing less each year. Consumption is rising every year. One credible study from the University of New South Wales warns that the solar industry alone could swallow 85 to 98% of all remaining above-ground silver reserves by 2050 if current trends continue. Gold can sit in a central bank vault for 1,000 years and still be there. Silver gets soldered into a circuit board or coated onto a solar cell and is effectively gone forever. That's what makes this setup we are in so much more dangerous than anything that happened with gold, palladium, or even the 1980 silver spike. The physical drain you're seeing right now isn't just investors front-running inflation. It's industry and nations that must have the metal to function, competing for a supply that is shrinking in structural, permanent decline. And that's the fuse that's already burning. Let me prove this four-stage cycle is real by walking you through the most explosive example ever recorded. Two Texas oil billionaires, Nelson Bunker Hunt and William Herbert Hunt, decided in 1979 that the dollar was finished. Inflation was raging at 13%, Nixon had killed the gold standard 8 years earlier, and paper money was hemorrhaging value every month. Their conclusion? Buy silver, the people's money, and take as much physical as possible. They didn't dabble, they went all in. By early 1980, they controlled roughly 200 million ounces, half in actual bars and coins, half through futures contracts. That was more silver than most countries owned. The price reaction was violent. January 1979, $6 per ounce. 1 year later, January 17, 1980, $49.45 per ounce, a 724% rocket ride in 12 months. On paper, the brothers were worth tens of billions. They briefly became the richest individuals in America. Wall Street and the exchanges went into full panic because the Hunts weren't quietly rolling contracts or settling in cash. They were demanding truckloads of real metal be pulled out of the vaults and delivered. The COMEX was bleeding physical ounces at a speed it had never seen. When an exchange realizes it might not be able to honor delivery, it does the only thing it can. It rewrites the rules while the game is still being played. January 7th, 2020. Silver Rule 7 is announced. No new long positions. You could sell or hold what you already had, but you could no longer buy. Translation, the Hunts were locked out. Silver kept climbing anyway. So, on January 21st, the exchange jacked margin requirements through the roof overnight. Suddenly, the brothers needed hundreds of millions in fresh cash to keep their positions alive. They scrambled, sold assets, begged banks. The forced selling snowballed. March 27, 1980, forever known as Silver Thursday. The price imploded from over $21 to roughly $10 in a single day. The Hunts lost $1.7 billion in hours. Brokerages nearly collapsed. Banks froze silver-related credit lines for days. The entire financial system teetered on the edge of seizure. But here's the part almost nobody talks about. Anyone who had simply bought physical silver at $6 to $8 and locked it in a safe lost nothing. When the smoke cleared and silver settled around $10 to $12, those people were still up 66 to 100%. They didn't owe margin calls. They didn't care what new rules the exchange invented. They owned the metal outright. The Hunt brothers lost everything because they played with leverage and paper. The system can change the rules on paper. It can't change the rules on a 1,000-ounce bar sitting in your vault. That one event should have been the loudest warning in history. Instead, the world doubled down on paper silver, and now the same movie is playing again, only this time the cast is much, much bigger.
That lesson from 1980 should have changed everything. Instead, the system rebuilt the exact same trap, only larger. We're living the sequel right now, and this time it's global, structural, and impossible to stop with one rule change. Just like in 1971, when foreign governments demanded the gold America didn't have, forcing Nixon to slam the gold window shut. Same pattern in 2000 to 2001, when Russia delayed palladium shipments and the price tripled while paper traders got wiped out. 3 documented cases, same 4 stages, same winner every time, physical metal in private hands. So where are we today? Let me show you with the freshest data straight from the exchanges and governments themselves. Stage 1 complete. For 150 years, silver was money. U.S. coins were 90% silver until 1965. Then the market priced silver higher than face value, so the government removed it. Warning ignored. Stage 2 complete. Wall Street replaced real metal with paper. Futures, ETFs, pool accounts, certificates. Today there are often 50 to 100 paper ounces circulating for every single physical ounce that could actually be delivered. The biggest silver ETF, SLV, openly admits in its prospectus that it can settle your silver in cash if metal isn't available. That's not ownership, that's a promise. Stage 3 is not coming. It is here and it is accelerating. October 1st, 2024, COMEX registered deliverable silver is 80 million ounces. December 3rd, 2025, registered silver is 43 million ounces. 37 million ounces vanished in 14 months. One single day, November 17th, saw a 6.13 million ounce withdrawal. That is not profit-taking. That is a vault run. February 14th, 2025, 4 of South Korea's largest banks simultaneously stopped all physical silver sales to customers indefinitely. These are institutions with global reach and unlimited credit lines. If they can't source metal, it's gone. China quietly reclassified precious metals as high risk, effectively blocking ordinary citizens from buying through banks while the state continues hoarding. India smashed all-time import records in 2024 because Indian families have lived through currency collapses and they trust only what they can hold. Industrial demand is relentless. Solar alone now eats 12 to 15% of annual mine supply and rising. Electric vehicles use twice the silver of gasoline cars. AI data centers, 5G, defense, all growing exponentially, while mine output has been falling since 2016. Result, another 149.9 million ounce deficit in 2024, with 117 to 150 million ounce deficits already projected for 2025 and beyond. Recycling can't close the gap. Retail is waking up too. Silver ETF inflows at decades highs. Online dealers routinely sold out. Premiums climbing. And the loudest alarm of all, backwardation. Cash silver trading higher than futures contracts. That only happens when people are desperate for metal today and don't trust delivery tomorrow. Even the exchange itself blinked. November 2025 trading halt blamed on a cooling system failure in a facility built to military specs. Veteran floor traders laughed because everyone knows a mid-spike halt with that excuse means someone enormous was about to be carried out. We are not approaching stage 3. We are already bleeding physical ounces at a pace that dwarfs 1979 to 1980. The only question left is how the exchanges will try to slow the hemorrhage and whether this time the world lets them. The exchanges are cornered. They have the same 2 playbooks they always use. 1, change the rules, higher margins, position limits, liquidation only, cash settlement forced on everyone. Or 2, let the price scream higher until the paper blows up anyway. They will pick door number 1, just like 1980, but this time it won't work. Because the buyers draining the vaults aren't 2 rich brothers with margin loans. It's hundreds of millions of people in India and China, solar and EV factories that shut down without silver, defense contractors, central banks, and thousands of regular families who finally understand what money really is. You don't freeze out an entire planet with one emergency rule. When stage 4 finally lands, the sequence will be brutal and fast. Repeated trading halts, delivery failure stacking up, forced cash settlement at whatever price they choose, physical premiums exploding to $30, $50, $100 over spot. And then one morning, the screen simply stops updating. Contracts are suspended, lawsuits fly, and the only price that still exists is whatever a dealer with actual metal in his hands is willing to take. The people holding real bars and coins, locked in their own safes, will watch it all happen from the sidelines. Everyone else will be holding worthless IOUs. So here's the only playbook that still works. 1. Own, don't speculate. Paper trading, mining stocks, leveraged futures, that's gambling. Buying physical silver you can touch is insurance. There is one correct form, metal that you personally control. 2. Buy before the premiums go insane. Today, you can still take delivery at $3 to $6 over spot. Tomorrow, that becomes $20, then $50, then sorry, we're out. History says you do not want to be the person with cash in a wheelbarrow trying to trade it for one last eagle when the vault doors are already empty. 3. Stick to instantly recognizable liquid forms. American Silver Eagles, Canadian Maple Leafs, Austrian Philharmonics, Royal Mint Britannia's 100-ounce or 1 kilo bars from LBMA-approved refiners. No numismatics, no limited edition junk. You want what any stranger on earth will accept without hesitation when the system is in flames. 4. Allocate but don't annihilate your finances. 10 to 20% of your total net worth is enough to sleep at night if the pattern finishes the way it always has. More than that, you're taking unnecessary risk, less than, and you're still exposed. 5. Store it where only you have the key. Home safe, private vault, buried cash, whatever, but never in a bank safety deposit box you can't access on Christmas Day, and never in an ETF or pool account where someone else holds the actual bars. Counterparty risk is the entire reason this is happening in the first place. Don't reintroduce it. The window is not closing because I say so. It's closing because registered COMEX stocks just hit the lowest level since the Hunt squeeze, because major banks in Asia have already walked away from retail sales, because backwardation is flashing red, because the vaults are literally emptying faster than mines can fill them. Every paper currency in recorded history has gone to zero. Average lifespan, 27 years. The US dollar has been pure fiat since 1971, 54 years and counting. We are living on borrowed time. Silver cannot be printed. It cannot be coded into existence. It cannot be wished into a solar panel or a missile guidance system. There's a fixed amount on this planet, and the world now needs more every year than exists. So the only question left is simple. Will you still be able to buy it when the crowd finally stampedes? Or will you already own your share, quietly watching while the pattern completes exactly the way it always has? The clock is ticking. Act while metal is still available, or explain to your family later why you didn't. Your choice, your future. But the window will not stay open forever. If everything I just showed you clicked, if the pattern now feels obvious, if the vault numbers, the backwardation, the empty dealer shelves, the banks walking away, if all of it finally feels the same urgency I feel, then do one thing right now. Hit subscribe. Turn on the bell. Because what you just watched is only the first domino. The silver squeeze is the warning shot for a much larger breakdown that's already in motion. The 2 quadrillion derivatives web, the unpayable sovereign debt spiral, the coming currency reset that every major nation is quietly preparing for. They all follow the exact same 4-stage pattern. And the next videos will walk you through every piece of it. The data nobody else is showing you, the moves the smart money is already making, and the simple, concrete steps the rest of us can still take while there's time. People who see the pattern early don't just survive what's coming. They come out the other side with their wealth intact, their freedom, and their options intact. The clock is ticking louder and louder every day. Don't watch the next phase from the sidelines holding paper promises. Subscribe right now. I'll see you in the next one. And whatever you do, get your metal while you still can.